Welcome to Strikers Inside Slant post-game after Steelers' big win for possible chance at the playoffs. Great game again by Mason Rudolph, hitting the receiver in stride there with DJ, cutting through the middle to give us the go-ahead touchdown, and then finally hitting that big field goal at the end of the game after the turnover to ice the game, essentially. There was no chance the Ravens could have came back. They were just going through the motions at the end of the game. We all knew it. But either way, got a chance. We've got a chance of winning the playoffs today. Today, if Houston and the Colts can get a tie. I want to give a big shout out over here over my left shoulder to my wife, Kate, and Andrea. They were at the game. They just drove back from that freezing, raining, horrible weather game to ice it for the Steelers. Second year of the road, they got a Steeler victory in Baltimore. Thank you very much, ladies, for that. We've got our friends over here, too. We got, what was that, Tony over here. We got Carlos and Tanya. We're all Steeler fans at the Stryker household tonight. And I am more than happy to welcome one of our great Steeler Nation podcasters, Caleb, to the show. Caleb, how are you feeling, my friend? Turn your phone sideways so we can get this looking great.
How
you doing, my friend?
First off, tighten up. We're tighten up tomorrow.
Yep. Tighten up, tie it up. Hashtag tie it up. I'm tying up today. I want to get in the playoffs today. I am rooting for a tie the way I was not rooting for the tie when the Chargers played the Raiders 2 years ago, where that was the only chance we were missing the playoffs is if they tied. And then they took it all the way to the end of overtime to barely get a field goal through, to eliminate it being a tie to get the Steelers to play Kansas City that year. But this year, I am definitely rooting for the tie to happen here between Houston and the Colts in this next game. What do you think the chances are, Caleb?
I'm more confident in this Titans team against the Jags right now than I am the Dolphins-Bills games. I think one of them is going to fall our way. And hear me out. Colts-Texans tied a few years ago. Hear me out.
Right?
Listen,
right? I like the 1.5 point spread if we're rooting for a tie.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember watching that Raiders Chargers game because I live like 6 hours from Kansas City, and I got COVID the week of the Steelers Browns game for Ben's last home game.
Right,
so
right.
My dad and I were watching that one. We knew we were going to play Kansas City if we got in. So as soon, we were stressed out for that. We wanted to go see Ben one more time. We knew what the outcome of the game was going to be.
Yeah.
But I remember being so stressed out for that game. And now tomorrow we have two, as long as tonight doesn't end in a tie, which hopefully it does. We have a long day tomorrow, potentially having to wait all day to find out if we're going to make the playoffs.
Like I said, we can know at the end of tonight.
Yep.
We can know by 4:30, or we can know by 8 o'clock whether or not there's the late game by like 11 o'clock whether we made the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But honestly, that is the way of being a Steeler fan. Though I will say one thing about this team that I have not been as confident about the last few years we made the playoffs. This is the first time where I have confidence in the offense being able to score enough points for the defense to be able to keep us close enough in the game to win these games like they have just done tonight. And even though this was a closer score tonight, Caleb, it was not in doubt by the time we gave the ball back over to the Ravens after scoring it with a 10-point lead. I was like, if we get under 2 minutes, the game is over. That was all I was rooting for.
Yeah,
as soon as we got past the 2-minute warning, the game was over.
Yeah, and that my dad was like, my dad was being like, he experienced all the ups and downs. He was like, oh, we suck. This, that.
He's a true Steeler fan. I love your dad.
Yeah. I was like, this is how these games go 10 times out of 10. Don't matter who's playing, other than Ben's 6 touchdown game. I can't
Yeah.
remember a time that there's been a blowout in the Steelers Ravens, no matter who plays.
Right.
With what we know with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, it's more scary to play backups than it is actual starters.
It is. And fortunately, the Steelers found a way to make sure that the backups didn't make enough plays to put us in a position to lose this game. But guys, Steeler Nation, this is your show. It is time to go to Steeler Nation. Ian, my old head, how are you doing, my friend? Hello, Stryker. Maybe there's a 6th seed. Depends on the rest of the season. I will cross my fingers if they do. If not, then I hope they get a good draft spot. Well, draft spot's going to suck no matter what. If we just miss the playoffs, we'll be in the 20s, mid-20s. But if we don't, we want to go to the playoffs. If we make the playoffs with this team, I am more confident we can win. Adam Bob, what up, Stryker? What up, Adam? D Winter, welcome to the show. I haven't seen you before. Thank you. Keep posting. Let's go Steelers. Adam Bob, Steelers win. They did. They absolutely did. Great game for Najee. Absolutely. Hey, let's quickly talk here. I want to get your thoughts on Najee's game, especially being his 3rd straight 1,000-yard game. First time it's ever happened in Steeler history to start his career.
Well, I think there's a lot of negative out there about Najee just amongst media, everything like that. Like, because they expected him to be Derrick Henry right off the bat. Can't be Derrick Henry when you're calling outside zone plays with a 250-pound back.
Right.
When we run at people's faces with Najee, he's very, very productive. He leads the league in like broken tackles and yards after contact. I mean, he
and Warren. Warren's got insane numbers too after contact.
They're the best running back duo in the NFL, and maybe the best running back duo that's the NFL's seen
since Ward and Okoye for Kansas City back in the 90s, I will say.
I mean, you guys.
I don't know if you're old enough to remember them. That was the original first Thunder and Lightning. Those guys were insane. Ward was Lightning. Okoye was Thunder. Those guys threw it down for Kansas City in the 90s.
So when I started watching football, I was lucky enough for it to be Ben's rookie year.
You've been a very lucky man since 2004.
Yeah,
I've been watching with Ian since the 70s.
but what I was gonna say is, like, I mean, you gotta think there was LT Michael Turner, LT Darren Sproles. Like, those were dynamic running back duos. You can think of any Patriots running back. They had they weren't.
Patriots have never had more than one. They had one. It was Edwards, and he ruined his knee in a sand game at the freaking Pro Bowl. They never had running backs.
No, I meant, like, as far as like how they used them. They had multiple running backs that were.
Yes, they had multiple. You're right.
But as far as game breakers, it could be the Okoye and you say Anderson?
Ward. Yeah.
Ward.
Both of those guys could equally take it to the house.
They're both capable of 1,000 yards.
Yep. And they both got 1,000 yards. Yeah. So thank you for the question.
I thought Jalen got 1,000 scrimmage yards.
Check that out. Please look that up, please, so we can make sure that we are on that. That would be awesome if you did. Thank you for the question, Cooley. We appreciate you, my friend. Ian, Jags and Bills have to lose for us to be incorrect. Jags or Bills.
Only one.
That's a wrong conjunction, and from Conjunction Junction, you learned your conjunctions back then. Off of the those morning cartoons in the 80s. I know you, Ian. I know you did. You're an old head like me. You got a white beard. Yoder! Hello there, Stryker. No matter what happens tomorrow, our Pittsburgh Steelers are 10-7. Exactly right. Adam Bomb. So you're saying there's a chance. Yes, there is, Adam. Miles! That's how we do it. Steelers own the North. Let's go playoffs. Here we come, assuming we get in. If we get in, look out, because one thing I've been talking with my friends today is if the Steelers make the playoff, if the Steelers make it in, there's only 2 teams that the Ravens have to worry about in the playoffs.
Cleveland.
Honestly, they can beat any team in the playoffs except for 2 teams, the Browns and the Steelers. Both teams in their division, Browns are already in the playoffs. Yep. Steelers have a shot at being in the playoffs. This might be a chance where the Steelers are playing the Browns in the playoffs. The way this team is playing right now, they are going to be a tough out in the playoffs.
Yeah, with the way the offense playing, Mason, like he only had 2 incompletions, which it felt like he wasn't having the greatest game. But then you see his passing. I was like, he had 2 incompletions. It was like, what? And it was, and again, it was the rain. Your wife can attest to it. It was shitty weather out there.
Right? Yes. Yeah. She agrees with you.
So we expected a down and dirty game like that where there was going to be turnovers and stuff like that. But man, like the 2 games before this and decent weather, we put up 30 points.
Right.
And you're telling me there's a chance that we could be the 7th seed going to Miami,
right?
Who we almost beat last year with a less I get what Kenny's like 2nd or 3rd start.
Yeah. Right. And that was a great game because I was in the end zone where they were sitting tonight when Kenny threw that ball to Najee. That was on my side in that end zone when I got to watch that game winning catch and the entire air go out of Raven Stadium. Because as I know, and as any person that follows any fan of any Harbaugh knows, if your team loses the lead, you're a front runner team with front runner fans, and your crowd goes silent.
To
lead, and when they don't have a lead, they don't win.
One thing to address: Shaka just said prayers for TJ.
Right. Right.
We got really, really good news with him.
Okay.
It's not the greatest news, but it was a sprain.
Yes.
He's gonna get more MRIs done tomorrow, but he wanted to come back in, and they would not allow it.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's all for the possibility of playing next week.
Yeah.
I think 100%. If we're in, we see TJ next week.
Right. Adam Baum mentioned that earlier in the thread. I was going to go back to it, but you mentioned it, so I'm glad you took care of it. So far, it's being listed as a grade 3 MCL sprain, which is the lowest grade of MCL sprain. I watched it happen. There was not a lot of – when I was at UMBC, I was an athletic trainer. We used to watch all the game film after every NFL week because we got all the injury reels into our team, so we had to try to determine what the injury was. Yeah. I didn't think there was enough range of motion in that play to cause a severe injury. So hopefully he'd be ready for next week. So thanks, Adam.
You can say that play was almost identical to the way Holcomb got hurt, and you could just tell the difference in the leg injuries in those, and how, like you said, the movement in his in Holcomb's leg compared to TJ's. It was like I was more on the positive side. I was like, he's probably got like a bruise on his shin or something, because like you said, there's no really movement in his leg right there. Yeah. But it does suck to see, like, because the Holcomb injury, that was caused by us. That was, I think, KZ and
exactly
coming in hot. That was Adams. So that's where it gets as unlucky as it gets.
And guys, this is your show. Bring your questions and comments. Obviously, we're going to Northside Injure. Mike T is the greatest coach in the world. I agree with you, Northside. Honestly, there's a lot of Steeler fans that hate him for some reason. I'm not going to say why, but I've got my own inklings about that. But honestly, this is what we've got to talk about. I talked about it last week. Mike Tomlin, in 17 years, has never been eliminated from the playoffs before the last week of the season.
One game.
Is how good of a
game.
Yeah.
One game that didn't matter, I think, is what I saw the other day. Yeah. He's only coached one game where he was eliminated from the playoffs.
I didn't think he ever coached a game when he was eliminated from the playoffs.
I think it was the year we went because we had a chance at the playoffs that year.
Yeah. He's never been eliminated before the last. He's been eliminated after we've played, and then the 1 o'clock games end, and then we're out, and then so then we lose it in 4 or the 8 o'clock game. But he's never been eliminated before the last week of the season.
Yeah, I mean, regardless if it's one or none, I mean, that's still crazy.
Either way, it's still insane for 17 years. Right. Corey, go Titans, go Dolphins. I'll tell you what, Stryker, the Ravens don't want a part of us. The most scariest scenario is to see the divisional team 3 times in a year. We are playing solid at the right time. And honestly, before the Ravens finally beat us 5 years ago in the playoffs, that was the first time we ever lost to a divisional team in the playoffs. And then, of course, Cleveland had that big rip game where we fumbled the first snap of the ball over Ben's head and spotted him a touchdown, and that game was insane. But those are the only 2 times in Steeler history that we've ever lost to a divisional opponent in the playoffs.
If we get into the playoffs and we make a run, I want to end Cleveland's season in Cleveland in the AFC Championship game, because that's where we'd see them. Because I am absolutely tired of seeing that clown Nick Carnes on Twitter tweet about the Steelers every single day of his life. I'm sick of it. I'm so done with it.
Steeler Wade, Joey Wade. Did anyone notice that absolutely perfect, prettiest snap I've seen all year by Cole that turned into a sack? I don't know if you're being sarcastic, which I think you are. But if that's the reason, I agree with you. Robert Trotta, first time on the show. Welcome, Trotta. This team with this offense, 10 wins, pretty amazing. The losses to Arizona and New England were indeed killers, but still very proud of our Steelers. Honestly, if we had Rudolph for those games, we were winning them, running away in those games. Honestly, no chance we lost either of those games.
Yeah, you could argue that we win all 3 of those games. We lost those 3 weeks.
Right.
Maybe not the Colts game, because they handled us pretty well.
Yeah. Well, they did, but it was because we didn't have the right quarterback in that game. Miles, Eric Rowe is a solid player. For happy with the backup. I'm glad he came back from his injury. I was worried when he came out. So he had an interception in a game. He had a forced fumble in a game. This guy is being called up from the practice squad to make plays for our team and can continue to be called up from the practice squad for the end of the year through the playoffs, because that's the way the rules are written.
If you told us at the beginning of the year that our safety trio wasn't going to be Minka, KZ, and Neal, right, with what we expected, and you were seeing better safety play out of Patrick Peterson.
Not better, Eric, but good safety.
Yeah, and Eric,
right. Peterson transitioning to safety, which I thought happened a year early, but yeah. I thought he can be a safety for years to come. Fine with that.
You can make the argument that Eric Rowe has been our second best safety all year.
I can't disagree. I cannot disagree. I love KZ. Don't get me wrong. I love KZ. He's a playmaker. He makes big hits. I thought his suspension was more than what was ever dished out for a hit within a game, within the rules of the game, and not being a helmet-to-helmet hit. That I didn't like. Yeah, it looked bad, and his spine bent backwards at a 90-degree angle, but he hit the player within the rules of the game to still get knocked out for the rest of the season, including playoffs. I thought was a little egregious in that respect.
All because of a bad throw.
Exactly. And Tom Brady mentioned that.
Yeah, it's NFL soft. But we're not here to talk about the NFL being soft. We're here to talk about the Steelers getting in the playoffs.
Corey Frank, facts are Steelers and Browns are the only 2 teams that knock the Ravens out. We are the only 2 teams that make Lamar Jackson's life miserable. Absolutely. TJ put a few weeks. Thank you, Terrell. Welcome to the show. Hope to see you more. David Berman, welcome to the show. We played our backups. We played their backups, not our backups, which would be who you are. But I know what you're saying. Sometimes speech to text. Welcome to the show, David. Either way, you're welcome here anytime. Let us know. Miles, we need to clean up the middle of the field. That's enough. It's a major weakness that needs to be addressed. That's what happens when you're on your 5th and 6th inside linebackers and your 4th and 5th safeties. Why do you think the middle of the field isn't perfect? Because we're on our 5th and 6th inside linebackers and 4th and 5th safeties.
Yeah.
We're on practice squad safeties. We're on off the couch inside linebackers with Miles Jack. For God's sake.
Good.
What do you expect? Good.
Miles Jack. I'll say Miles Jack looks good. Other than Mikal Walker, the guys that have had to step up for Cole Holcomb and Quan Alexander,
right?
Him, Jack and Robinson, they look good stepping in. Yeah, I figured he was a Ravens fan because he said when he said we played our backups. It's whatever.
Right.
Whatever.
Right. Ian, what are the chances if we beat the Browns in the playoffs? Another rematch with the Ravens? Well, we can't play the Browns in the playoffs unless we're playing in the AFC Championship game because we are both wild card teams, and we have to play on the road against division winners this next week if we make the playoffs. But
think about this. Let's say we go into Miami next week. If we get into the playoffs, we beat Miami. The chances of us seeing two divisional opponents, because I think whoever Cleveland goes against, they can probably win. They look dominant right now. There's a chance we see two divisional opponents in back-to-back weeks in the playoffs.
yeah. Thank you, Sue. I agree with you 100%. Miles, will Minka be healthy enough in time for the playoffs? I think so. He nearly made it back for this week. He started practicing more this week. He was listed as questionable, did not play. But I think if we make it next week, I expect Fitzpatrick to be healthy enough to play next week if he does not have a setback. Ariel, welcome to the show. We have not seen you before. Please, anytime. You're welcome. Which do you think is the easiest scenario tomorrow for the Steelers to make the playoffs? I personally thought, looking at it, that it was the Miami over Dolphins until I started hearing the coach of the Tennessee Titans to start chirping.
Former Steeler.
Vrabel, former Steeler, starting to chirp at the fact that they thought that they didn't have a chance. Now Tannehill's starting to chirp. Titans want to beat the crap out of their division rival, Jacksonville.
That's what benefits.
Yes, may happen tomorrow.
Every single game that we need, like let's say like this game could end in a tie. It's a divisional game. More than likely it's going to be close. Tennessee and Jags. That's a divisional game. That can go either way. Like all the games that matter, like this what am I trying to say? I mean it's if it's like the AFC North, it's I think last year played 2 times a year when we were 16.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm just having them answer themselves on the posts before I jump back to their questions. Yeah,
I completely forgot where I was going with, anyways. So
that's fine. Adam, who is proud of Pickens? He got a lot of heat for his previous attitude, and I just want to make sure he gets his props. You take that one, Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually kind of because the broadcasting crew, Orlovsky, Riddick, and I can't think of the other guy right now. They brought it up so much about his attitude. It got kind of annoying. It's like, what do you expect from a guy? We know he has all this talent. Like, what do you expect when you're not getting the ball? You're gonna get angry. And look what happens whenever he has two back-to-back games. I mean, he could have even had one good game. He probably would have acted this way tonight. I truly believe all he cares about is winning.
Yeah.
But like everybody has said inside the organization, he just wants to be a part contributing to those wins.
Right. Miles, Caleb, are we drafting Cedric Van Pran and Mims for our big boy Broderick?
100%. I am on the Von Pran train.
I'm definitely on that one too.
And I think he can be had in the second round. And I think Mims is their right tackle in Georgia.
Yes.
Listen, just give me Georgia's offensive line. Philly can have
anytime.
Offensive line. Just give us their offensive line. Because I mean, that means you can put Broderick back in his natural spot, left tackle. You get a dog at center, which Van Pran looks like. You never know that if they can make that transition to the NFL. And I'm not too familiar with Mims. I haven't watched a lot of him because Mason Cole's been so atrocious. Yeah.
Miles, hey guys, KZ is coming back in the playoffs. No, he is eliminated from the playoffs.
They reduced it.
What's that? They reduced it?
Yeah, he can play in the playoffs.
Thank you, Caleb. This is why I have you on my show. Miles, this is why I have you on my show, my friend. You being one of the all-time greats on all of Stryker's Inside Slants. Thank you so much for letting me know that, guys, both of you, because I can't wait to get KZ back because the dude is a playmaker. Travel Buddy, are there any information? What's on TV? In German TV, they speculated it could be a cruciate ligament rupture. They said it was a grade 3 MCL sprain, which is medial collateral ligament. That is the inside ligament, like on the inside towards your boy parts, between your knees. That's the inside ligament is medial collateral. From the injury, I told you myself, I didn't think look like the bend was enough to be a significant injury. Maybe be a week or two, but knowing TJ Watt, he's going to try to get back next week. Kev, he might be a Ravens fan. That's why he said that. No, definitely not. Press, like, right, yeah, we know. Miles, and like I said, Miles Jack was going to look good. I did when you said he was going to be crap. Thank you, Miles, for defending your namesake yet again. I'm fine eating crow, though I prefer if it's bigger, I will eat Raven tonight because we just ate the Ravens tonight. Yum, 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 yum. Bad call! Bad call, ref. Bad call. Yes, that's Ravens fans to a T. Joe, welcome to the show. Right? Yeah, there we go, guys. Peanut gallery's ready. Joe Rosson beat the 2-2 lost teams, and we would be a 2 seed. No, we wouldn't because you have to win the division, and the Ravens were the 1 seed. So the only chance we had was beating the Ravens to be a 1 seed. And at 10 wins, even with those 2 wins, we would have been at 12, which is still behind the 13 wins that the Ravens currently have.
But we would have had a chance at the 1 seed. We win those 3 games we lost.
Yes, we did. We did have a chance at it if we would have won them. But though we won a lot of games we should have lost, in my opinion, early in the season because Kenny did a great job of making sure those losses turned into wins with late fourth quarter drives, which he had 5 of them this season. 5. 5 of our wins was because Kenny Pickett said we're not losing.
And
I got to give him his props on that.
Let me go on a little Kenny tangent right here because I still believe in the kid. He's a gamer. We know that. I think if you go get like a hardcore coaching style, like a Todd Haley or Eric Bieniemy, and you bring them into Pittsburgh to be the offensive coordinator, they are going to pound Kenny Pickett's like rollout thing. Because if you see how our offense is working, it's because Mason steps up into the pocket. He's not doing those rollouts. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. Anytime Kenny Pickett makes a good throw, it's usually from inside the pocket when he does step into the pocket. He can make those throws.
He can.
He's got it in him. We know he can take if he has the ball 2 minutes left, we have all the faith in the world in him. Probably more than we would Mason right now, honestly.
Right. Booted from SteelerNation.com. Welcome to the show. Obviously, guys, go to SteelerNation.com, click on the forum button. It's free to sign up for the forum. I posted Stryker. Cooley's on here. He posts Robert C. Booted's on here. He posts the Booted. It's a great place to talk football when you're not talking about on my show. ESPN's cameras were an embarrassment to the NFL. They should be fined for their rain-soaked broadcast, almost unwatchable. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. The lenses should have been covered farther to stop the rain from hitting them. It absolutely sucked watching that. Miles, the Jags disrespected the towel when we played them. The curse is real, and vengeance is upon them. I hope Myron Cope is with you tomorrow from Upstop because that's where it's coming. Wade Show, Steeler Wade Show. Great to see you again, Wade. Put it up here. Put up how we can follow the Titans, fella. That's why we're on the show. We're going to talk about the Titans game while we're on the show today.
No, he was my name is Tighten Up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. Lester, put Carlos to talk. Carlos, you're being called up. Lester V wants to hear what you have to say about the Pittsburgh. Come on up here. Come on up, Carlos.
Hey,
Carlos,
10-7.
a little closer.
That's
more
more
than
than what we could ask for. It was a tough season going in with Mitchell Trubisky going in as the backup. We lost Kenny Pickett. That was tough. It was awesome to see Mason Rudolph come in as a third string and do what he does. Again, he's a young quarterback, so for him to be able to step up as a third string quarterback is big. Is big. Unfortunately, George Pickens as our number 2 receiver, he didn't do much, but we didn't need him to. You know, DJ got all the looks. He got the touchdown. Najee had a huge game. So shout out to him for going for 1,000 yards after his third year. So, hey, man, we can't ask for more. Jalen Warren, I mean, again, tough conditions to play under with the rain and the snow. So, you can't ask for much more than any other player for him to be able to fumble. I mean, Melvin Gordon, I mean, he has the reputation of fumbling. So, I mean,
you called it.
Yeah.
Carlos called it before the game. He said,
yep,
tell him what you said to me.
Ball security is going to be key, and Melvin Gordon has a reputation of fumbling. So, as soon as he got the ball, what's the first thing that happened? Fumble, turnover, Steelers. Of course, we'll take it every single day. Give him the ball every single time. We'll take the fumble any day, every day. Hey, Pittsburgh over here, 10-7. Never, ever below 500 record with Mike Tomlin. We love that. We love that here in the Pittsburgh Nation. Hey, Pittsburgh all day. We're hoping for the best of the wild card weekend. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. We're going to make it.
Awesome.
I love our chances.
Thank you, Carlos.
I appreciate y'all.
Thank you for calling out the people in the peanut stand.
Shout out to you, Lester.
Yep. Thank you, guys. That awesome call. Rocky, welcome to the show. Sweep the Ravens and Bungles and maybe no playoffs. That's the insane thing. We are 5-1 in the division and may not make the playoffs. That's absolutely unthinkable. Unthinkable for a team to be 5-1 in their division and possibly not make the playoffs.
I swear, like I think it was like mid-2000s. I want to say it was like the Chiefs or somebody in the AFC West. Like all their wins that season were just divisional games. Like they went 6-0 in their division and didn't win anything else.
Right.
They're still straight behind you.
Yeah, I always throw it to, like, when we're talking, I just put this. I always throw stuff up that doesn't pertain to what we're saying.
Yeah.
If it does, I'll point to you. Travel buddy. But TBH, after the game, we are in Trouble Nation. There's no chance at the moment you can go back to Kenny, and while he is already 25 and missing so many games, not sure if it's worth keeping. Absolutely. Now, here's my point, and I will talk this out with Steeler Nation. Absolutely this year, this is Mason Rudolph's team because Mason Rudolph won the 3 games that were the toughest to win in our last 6 to get us a chance to get to the playoffs. Tomlin's already said it. Rudolph's our guy. Kenny's fully healthy. He's going to finish out the season. Does it mean we throw the baby out with the bathwater and get rid of Kenny Pickett? No. But I think it opens up a chance for an actual open competition between Rudolph and Kenny Pickett next year in training camp and preseason to see who deserves to be the Steelers quarterback week 1 of next year.
Yeah, and I think Mason has shown enough. Mitch is gone. You try.
We're gonna get his $8 million when we cut him, and he's gone.
You try.
Absolutely agree. He's done.
I think you try and convince Mason because another team might be desperate enough to give him more money. Well, you try and convince Mason to take what Mitch is similar to when we offered Mike Wallace that huge contract. He said no, so like, okay, here you go, Antonio Brown. Like,
yeah, right.
I think we try and do something similar to that. I do think, as much as I would like to see Justin Fields a Steeler, I don't think they're going to go out and go get a quarterback from the outside. I think it is going to come down to Kenny and Mason battling it out.
And, well, and that's what I think too. Honestly, they are, and that's why we get a chance to keep Mason Rudolph because he is our free agent. We got a chance to sign him before March.
Yeah,
we are going to say, Mason, we're going to up your $1 million contract to $5 million for the next couple of years, $10 million over 2 years. You get to directly compete against Kenny Pickett to be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is more than any NFL team that has ever offered Mason Rudolph because he was a free agent for March, for April, for May, before the Steelers chose to sign Mason Rudolph in June to bring him back in to compete with the other quarterbacks to possibly make this roster, which he did. And I think if he hears that he's got a shot at being 1 or 2, he takes it.
Here's a caveat.
Okay.
I don't know if Mason Rudolph is even on the team if Dwayne Haskins doesn't pass away.
Right? Exactly. I completely agree. The Steelers did the right thing of making sure to go out and get Dwayne Haskins. Always been a Dwayne Haskins fan. Awesome. Thank you, Tony. Tony's going to say goodbye to Steeler Nation. He's a member of Steeler Nation. Thank you, Tony, for coming to the show. And wasn't able to see ESPN from his place. That's the way it goes. Sue! Pickens is still a child. He has some growing up to do. I hope that Pickens is at least happy for the win and a chance to play for another day. We will see. Rocky Rush Rivera. Thank you, Rocky. Good to see you again. Hope they are Steelers fans behind. Yes, we already talked about that. Ian, last time I watched Dolphins-Bills game, it showed the Bills had secondary problems with Hill and Waddle. I'm hoping as well. NFB, welcome to the show. Hand pink waving. I don't know what that means, but I hope your hand pink like this.
I think it's an emoji, and it just.
I think that's the emoji. Thank you. We put Carlos on. Carlos, everybody loves you, Carlos. Everybody loves you. Right. Steeler Mundo! Steelers Mundos! Yeah, we. See. I know so many languages, I get confused. Brian Davis, Mason tossing that rock like a grown man when it mattered. Dude, we were complaining. Caleb was on it on the Steeler Nation Group Me site. We're going back and forth. We had a guy on there, an old head, saying, put in Kenny. I'm like, Kenny? Small hands Kenny would suck in this game with all this rain. And then we threw that spot-on pass to Deontay Johnson for the touchdown after that. And I said, when has Kenny Pickett ever hit a receiver in stride over the middle of the field to make them make a play to get a touchdown? They haven't. That is exactly what happened tonight, Caleb.
Yeah, but to your argument where you're saying, would Kenny make that throw in the rain? You do have to remember he played in the coldest game in a cold ball. I mean, granted, today's ball was cold, but it was also wet.
But wasn't under freezing.
Yeah, that Ravens game where it was negative temperatures, that was rock hard.
And I was at that game.
Yeah, in my opinion, it is harder to grip a ball in that kind of temperatures than it would be in the rain because the ball's so damn hard. It hurts to catch.
I completely disagree with you on that as a wide receiver. I think it's much harder to catch a ball in a downpour than it is in a cold game if you're wearing gloves. Because in a cold game, if you have proper hand placement, the ball's just going to stick to your gloves. If you weren't wearing gloves, no, I would agree with you. I would absolutely agree with you. And I honestly believe, and this is a take that nobody else has. I honestly think that gloves are performance-enhancing devices and shouldn't be used at all in the NFL. I think that it should be your hand placement and your ability to catch over the wardrobe you are wearing to allow a ball to stick to your hand. And if that was the case, I would completely agree with you, Caleb. But as a wide receiver, I found that catching a ball in a downpour, having your vision obscured as well as your hands being slick against a ball being slick is way more difficult to catch a ball than in a blizzard in cold conditions. And I didn't play with gloves. I licked my hands like that and did the thumbs, and I always caught the ball. I was a mother effer at catching the ball. That was how I did it when I lined up.
I didn't use gloves until my senior year, but I played in South Dakota, and that's.
But you're younger than me too. Yeah, I mean, you came into the league back with Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, I'm playing in the '90s, early '90s.
I also played in South Dakota too. It gets cold out there. We had some practices, and that's where I speak to like those like the cold balls from like just those practices.
Right.
I was pretty lucky with weather for game days back then.
Okay. Travel buddy, for sure, it's still there's a chance, but everything needs to be perfect without any serious injury, and we need to get a decent offensive coordinator secretary. I would love to believe it, but I can't. Well, so far, our offensive coordinator tandem is doing better than Matt Canada. We have had 2 30-point games followed by a game against our hated division rival with them. It looks like I just lost Caleb. I'm just going to bring myself up here until we get Caleb back. Item Bomb, Steelers had no chance other than to go with Rudolph. Pickett has been out for over 4 weeks, and with only one game chance to have to go with a hot hand midseason, Pickett would have been in. If we were midseason, absolutely, I agree. Pickett would have been in. But at the end of the season, the way that Mason Rudolph has put us in a position to win in the playoffs and make the playoffs, this is Mason Rudolph's team. The offensive line, when they run up to the line of scrimmage, the way they get in and out of the huddle has been the best under Mason Rudolph than it's been with any other quarterback. They get in and out with efficiency, with purpose. Everybody else, they're just like, they just turn around. They're like, okay, are we there? False start, holding, illegal formation. Like that stuff doesn't happen as much with with Rudolph for some reason. I don't know why. I know he's the longest tenured quarterback on this team, but that's the way I'm seeing it so far. Yes, you're back on the show. Miles, fourth quarter, Kenny is playoff Brady. I don't know. We'll see. If somebody gets hurt, yes. I called the win. Thank you, Maulers. I'm glad you called the win. Prismy Nation, here we go. Thank you, Prismy Nation. I'm glad you're welcome to the show. John Muller, Steelers have a pick up Najee's fifth-year option. Steelers have to pick up Najee's fifth-year option. Now, this is something I want to talk about with you, Kayla, because I have given my opinion on this in the last couple weeks. I said it's difficult for the Steelers to pick up Najee's fifth-year option the way Warren is playing. A lot of Steeler Nation is saying Warren should be the number one running back. If we're going from a money perspective, that's the way you go. No matter what, Najee's on the team next year because it's his fourth year. But if the Steelers want to pick up Najee's fifth-year option, they have to do it in May. That is the way the rule works, and he's locked in for the next 2 years. So, Caleb, do you pick up Najee Harris's fifth-year option?
I think ultimately, they will. I mean, how can you argue he's the first running back, I think they said in Steelers history, for 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
He's in rare air for the NFL doing
it. Yeah, and it's, I mean, they complement each other so well, and there's no friction between those two and wanting more. They're completely okay with the way things are divvied out, the way they are in that running back room.
Yeah, Carlos, do you pick up Najee's fifth-year option?
I do. The way he played today after a 3,000 back-to-back 1,000-yard season, yeah, I definitely will. He's a complimentary. Well, Jalen Warren is a complimentary back to Najee Harris. I feel like both of them together is a good duo in the backfield. The only thing I would change is I feel like we do need a good quarterback. Not throwing any shade on Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett or anything, but we do need somebody to throw the ball downfield. I think that's the only thing we're missing. That's the only thing we're missing.
Brian Davis, man, Jack Golden stepped up big time. Give us a big push late. Exactly. And the other safety, 25. What's safety's name?
Eric Rowe.
Dude, got an interception in the game, forced a fumble in this one. Those guys deserve to be rostered. Absolutely fantastic players. Edward James, please don't mention Kenny Pickett's name. He's now a backup, and backups don't deserve the amount of airtime. We'll talk about it next year, but yeah, we talked about that. Travel Buddy, I would agree if Kenny would be 22 or 23, but turning 26, and we couldn't see anything so far, but not sure. I hope you would be right, Caleb. Just have them battle it out. I'm not going to, like I said, not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We've got a rookie quarterback under contract. We've got a quarterback that knows how to win games, and that's what you want out of a backup quarterback if he loses to Mason Rudolph, and I'm fine with that. Maybe it means we draft another great possible quarterback. This is a deep quarterback draft coming up. Lester V. Los, tell the people how much you love the Raven. No, it's not going to happen. This is great. Steeler Wade. Appreciate that. Hot towels out. That's it, NFB. Props to the O-line, especially Seomalu. He was playing like a beast. Great call, Mike. Welcome to the show. Keep bringing great comments like that one for your first one. Awesome. Great to have you on the show. Miles, when are you guys getting Trey back on the pod? I'm going to call him. Actually, you usually have Trey on your pod, right, Caleb?
So we had him on once. He actually has his own podcast now. What's it called? I can't think of what it's called right now, but he has a podcast right now. They actually just had Herm Edwards on the podcast. Right now, Derwin and I's podcast is on not active right now. So that's in the works. Hopefully one day we can come back and bring that to everyone. Sorry, I'm making a drink.
Nah, that's fine. Guys, Steeler Nation, just so you guys know, make sure you follow me at Steeler Nation Stryker. Guys, go over to YouTube. Follow us on our YouTube channel, YouTube/Steeler Nation. Caleb's on there. I'm on there. Every time we post, you guys get the links. That's why we get so many people on these shows. It's because of that and the Facebook. But still, YouTube, subscribe to us there. That's when you know we're jumping up just any time to talk about whatever we are thinking about. Steeler Wade Show, the 5-1 thing is wild. I thought before the season we went 3-3 divisionally, we would make the playoffs. Me too. Ian, draft a center or inside linebacker first round or safety or cornerback. I'm fine with all those, though we're getting Corey Trice back. We may have our corners, our two twin towers. Our twin tower cornerbacks on our roster already. If he comes back 100% next year, those are going to be our twin towers on the edges for years to come. Mike Kremitzky, welcome to the show, Mike. I like Mason better. Kenny isn't ready yet. Passing is too inconsistent, and the game is moving too fast for him. I don't think it's moving too fast. I thought our protection was a little too lax with everybody in there. Mason is the veteran in the room, along with Trubisky, but Trubisky has regressed. Mason is the one that shows it's not too big for him. How about them Cowboys? Shutout loss. I guess you're a Cowboys fan. That's fine. Steal away. The value of a good number 2 quarterback will be crazy this offseason. Absolutely. Travel buddy, without any pressure, but send Mitch over here, and I move to the U.S. He can enjoy his life in Germany, and I can see our Steelers live. I would love that, travel buddy. Absolutely. Rocky Rush Rivera, welcome to the show. Mitch better be gone after next season. Never should have been here in the first place. Bad man. No, he had value. He absolutely had value. I'm not gonna say he wasn't a valuable chance, but he just didn't work out. Ian White, if the Rooneys know, they will keep Kenny. They have to. He's a rookie. NFB, Mason was a stud in college, man. I had higher hopes for him to have been the Steelers quarterback. Yeah, but still, we got one more year to see what he is. He's got a win against Rudolph next year. Can Mason go? Happy for that. Steelerberg, what is the word on TJ? Right now, it's a grade 3 MCL strain. We're waiting to hear everything else. We got a shot of playing next week if we make the playoffs. Miles, Mason is going to be another team. Going to another team. He's been building tape for himself. I don't think so. He tried. He had the chance to go to any team last year, and he was sitting on the waiver wire for three months. 3 months. Nobody wanted him. If the Steelers say they want anything out of him before free agency and we give him more than his million, I think he's staying with us. Absolutely think he's staying with us with a chance to be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He possibly got us to the playoffs. I think he wants to stay with us. You watch how this team responded to him. You watch how George Pickens was happy about him. You watch how all of the tight ends sang his praises. You watch how DJ loved him as a safety valve. You loved how the offensive line was starting to take responsibility and block for him. It looked like a Ben Roethlisberger-esque team with him at quarterback above Trubisky and above Pickens this season. Ian, I think Mason Rudolph's stock just went up. He could be worth a good trade or might keep him. And they can't trade him unless we do it before free agency. But I don't think we're going to trade him. I think he's better to keep on the roster. NFB, Mason was a stud in college. Oh, yeah, we talked about that one. Rocky, chew tobacco, spit, spit, spit. If you ain't a Steeler fans, you ain't shit. Go Steelers! We know that. Travel buddy. That's how you know they're all Steeler fans behind me. Caleb, can you do something against the coldness, but you can't change the wetness. The ball gets slippy as it almost impossible. We talked about that. It's fine. Yeah. You don't have to rehash it. So, you played real football before all the sticky gloves. I definitely did, and I was a great receiver. I had perfect hand placement, and that's how I know how to break down receivers going into drafts. I do it every year. Go to SteelerNation.com. Make sure you're reading the articles because I'll put up the video breakdowns of every Steeler receiver that may be pushed toward us, and everybody we draft, I'll definitely put one up. Travel Buddy. Mr. Stryker, did you really bring up better than Canada? No one is worse than him. Kevin Gilbride trying to force Cordell Stewart to be a pocket passer when he's a mobile quarterback is almost is as bad as an offense coordinator as I've ever seen for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny never should have been drafted. Now, don't agree with you, Tom. To Adam Baum, anyone who doubts Pickens, go back to the Vegas game this year with 3:55 left in the second quarter. Watch Pickens attempted block on a Pickens run. That's given 100%. That's the Pickens we need, not the Pickens that watches plays happen and didn't want to get hurt when Warren was trying to get a touchdown against the Colts.
I know exactly what block he's talking about, and it's when George just jumps up in the air and like throws himself up.
Right. Brian Davis, Mason has had a couple hard years. That has thickened his skin. Haven't heard any BS from players since he's been with the Reins. They respect. I've never heard bad press about Rudolph ever, and there's only one Steeler that I've heard ever say anything negative or neutral negative get bounced him, and that's Ben Roethlisberger, and it was when we drafted him.
Yeah,
I mean, drafted somebody that could help this team. Actually, drafted a guy that could help this team make the playoffs, Ben. So you were wrong.
Other than the Ben stuff, the only negative thing you could say that was ever said about Mason Rudolph was when Myles Garrett was lying about what was said on the field that day.
Yeah. Tom, you're absolutely right. We've been talking about this on the cast for years. 3 years now. I've been saying that Mason Rudolph has the best deep ball on the team.
Oh,
and now we're showing 100%. That the deep ball and intermediate to deep sets up the running game better than the intermediate to short passing game. Yeah. And that's why Najee Harris has 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
John Maulers. Once the Steelers fix the left tackle and center positions, the offensive role will take time. Honestly, I will say one thing, John. The Steelers screwed up and got rid of a player that they played out of position with Kevin Dotson. He was always a right guard. They got rid of him because he was playing left guard and wasn't doing it as well as he played right guard. Now he's on the Rams, and he's going to be making $13 million a year now on free agency because he played right guard on the Rams, and he was a monster at right guard because that's all he played in high school. That's all he played in college. I interviewed him. I talked to him about it, and that's why the Steelers screwed up, and they may be screwing up right now with Broderick Jones because Broderick Jones should be the left tackle, not the right tackle. So moving forward, they should start talking about maybe moving more to right tackle as opposed to having Broderick Jones play a position he just learned how to play this year.
Yeah, bring back Mike Munchak.
Ian White, in all fairness, I think they do pick up Najee's fifth-year option, and they might lock him in for more years. I think they will draft a line, and they need for the 1-2 Najee and Warren. I don't disagree. Trey Day 79. There you go, Brian. Pod me up, Adam Brom, Adam Davis. Yeah, but now Mason has value, and he has good tape to show his ability to get big up. Well, here's the thing, Brian, and I've been saying this multiple times in the show. You don't enter free agency until March. Until that time, the team you are with can re-sign you and convince you to re-sign before March. And that's what the Steelers are seriously going to do for Mason Rudolph before March hits, because I honestly think they're going to give him a much better contract than his $1.5 million he's gotten this season. Confidential, welcome to the show. Did we buy our Dolphins and Titans jerseys? Never, but we'll root for them. Go Dolphins! Absolutely. Brian Davis, what's he said about the wetness, ball sliding and slipping? Hey, you guys love the Steelers, so this might be a great source. Remember when the Steelers beat the Cardinals in the Super Bowl? No, I don't remember that. Was the Steelers' offensive line ranked 32nd? That Steelers' offensive line was terrible. That was the worst offensive line to win a Super Bowl. I've been talking about it.
Darnell Stapleton.
Right. And there's and also so you guys know, we played the 1 seed the second round that year. And Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning threw his offensive line under the bus to say that was the reason why they lost that game. And the Steelers won a Super Bowl without an offensive line because Ben Roethlisberger was that athletic. NFB, if it's confirmed, then maybe it's the mentality right there. See, it's what you need to know about the Steelers. The win is real. Run hard no matter what. Absolutely agree. Love those two running backs. We all do. At NFB Tweezy, our offensive line was ranked 30th that year in 2009 Super Bowl, but we were the only 30th or lower ranked offensive line to make the playoffs, and we won the Super Bowl. 30th? Oh my goodness, still amazing to me. Adam Baum, Mike Sullivan still doing Mike Sullivan-like things in Pittsburgh. With that fun out of the way, do the Steelers pick Sullivan or Faulkner, keep both, or get an outside offensive coordinator this offseason? I absolutely hope amongst hope, Adam, that they find a new offensive coordinator and they do due diligence, bring in 10, 20 people, multiple rounds of interviewing before hiring an offensive coach. I am done with hiring from in the inside. Sorry, Tomlin. It's time for Omar. It's time for Weidel to take over, and to do it the way we hire head coaches, to do it the way we hire GMs, get a real difference maker in here that is not already on the roster that can make this team better through due diligence. And John Maulers, remember Dotson was pushed into service at left guard because Faneca retired. Yes, but the game that he started for David DeCastro when he got hurt was the highest rated game at right guard that year. Was the highest rated game by PFF of any offensive lineman in any game for that season. That should have told you right there, Steelers, move him to right guard, find a left guard in free agency as opposed to finding a right guard in free agency is what they kept doing, throwing old right guards in that spot. It's the reason why Dotson isn't on this roster, and I wish he was because that guy would be on this roster for years. What's in the water over there in Pittsburgh? I hope PCP. I'm not in Pittsburgh. I'm in Baltimore. And I say we get an offensive coordinator from college ranks. I don't care where we get it from as long as it's not from an interior hire. NFB, it's because the guys Steeler Nation has fans. We do. We have more fans than any team ever. Ever. So I don't know if you're a Cowboys fan. I don't know if you're a Green Bay fan or any other team, but those are the other teams that can at least have a conversation about being the most fans in the nation. Other than those two, good luck making that argument because you're not in the argument. John Maulers, Broderick Jones has struggled with pass setting up most right tackles in the run better than left tackle. I'm telling you, you put this guy at left tackle, he will be great in all aspects because he's playing. It's like trying to ride a bicycle where the pedals go backwards to go forward and you turn right to go left and left to go right. That's exactly what it's like to switch sides on the offensive line, and especially tackle is way more difficult to do that than guard because the farther you go out, the more technique you need to keep people off your quarterback.
His first start in the NFL was against the Ravens, and he played left tackle, and he dominated.
Yeah, right.
Weird. Crazy. He played his natural position and dominated.
Right. Caleb, thank you so much for being on the show. Caleb, tell people how we can follow you on social media.
So I'm mainly on Twitter, and it's real easy. It's my first name, middle initial, last name. It's at Caleb, Kaleb, J Everhart, Everhart.
Awesome. Follow Caleb Everhart, please, on Twitter. I know if you're on subscribing to YouTube/Steeler Nation, every time he puts up a podcast, you will get the ding. You will be on that podcast and asking questions just like you do on my podcast because everybody knows my podcasts are always live. Guys, follow me at SN Stryker on my platforms, Instagram, Tickety Talk. I don't know what my other one is because I'm drunk. I'm not even on Facebook. But I've been drinking a lot of these tonight during the game. And I am. It's on there. It's SN Stryker spelled with a Y. Why? Because we love you. Exactly. Because we love me. And I love the Steelers. So but guys, your show. We love you, Steeler Nation. Subscribe. Go to SteelerNation.com. Check out our forum. Sign up on there. It's free. If you want to pitch in, that's great too. It keeps everything running smoothly at SteelerNation.com, and that's the reason why Caleb and I have a platform. So thank you so much, Steeler Nation, for doing all of that for us. Ian!
Steelers! Woo!
Well, if you play... Yep.
6 Steelers.
Well, Steeler, you play wide receiver. Maybe you should try and get the wide receiver coach job in the Steelers. Actually, that's the only position I would be confident with other than game manager, not head coach. I would be fine game managing. Stryker for wide receiver coach. Thank you, NFB. I'm definitely down there. Do it now. I'm actually going to throw in my my resume to be the Irish liaison because I'm retiring from my company. I'm getting it sold. I'm Irish born. I ran a marketing promotion company. I've got a degree in broadcasting. I know how to speak to people. I've interviewed many Steelers, and this is the way I talk. So happy Pittsburgh Steelers. Please hire Stryker to be your Irish liaison because the Irish and the Germans, which my tattoo has Ireland and Germany on it. You can't see it. It's too low. But I didn't disrobe. I pulled it down. But either way, I'm an Irish-German guy. Those are our countries, and I would be happy to represent both of them for Steeler Nation. Travel Buddy Prost! Yeah, Germany. Let's get our best for tomorrow. Yeah, we hope we do have that. Pro Bowl isn't a Pro Bowl. It's a skills challenge. It sucks. Don't even think about the Pro Bowl anymore. So, guys, that's all the time. Caleb, what's your daughter's name?
Paisley.
Paisley, welcome to the show, Paisley. Tell Steeler Nation, are you a Steeler fan, Paisley? What do you say when you watch Steeler games and the Steelers score a touchdown?
Sing the song. What are you going to sing? Yeah, do it.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.
Great job, Paisley. Caleb, Paisley, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for it being your idea to have the show today. Not sure how the game's running, but guys, obviously we're hoping for a tie here in this next game. Everybody else, otherwise, either the Jags, Buffalo lose tomorrow. We will be talking either way. Either way, we'll be talking about it Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Next live show for Strikers Inside Slant. Set your dial for Eastern Time, 8:30 p.m. If you're subscribed to YouTube/Steeler Nation, you'll know because it comes up. That's the way it goes, guys. So I am your host, Steeler Nation Stryker, along with Caleb. Caleb this way. Ian White. Have a good night, Stryker. Thank you. Good show. Thank you, Miles. Mike Tom, Taylor Towel. Everybody, throw your towels around. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Oh, here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Oh,